quality title race of all time, but coming out on top again in the Premier League, Manchester City.
Carefree, wherever we may be, we are famous CFC. Morning boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Premier League Verdict. Boys and girls, I have been excited for this one. A defining moment in the Premier League season, Manchester City versus Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. A huge game in our season. For City, they were trying to avoid having to give Liverpool a guard of honour next week. And to be honest, going into this game, I would have felt, you know, the odds were heavily stacked against us. You know, I think I felt like there was a lot of pressure on us. The fact that Tottenham had won, the fact that Wolves had won, the fact that Manchester United had won convincingly at Sheffield United, especially against one of the best sides that the league has ever produced. We're well out of our depth here. And yes, they were missing their best goal scorer, but apart from that, you can't really say Man City weren't at full strength last night. So we're going to the Chelsea team then. There was two changes from the side that beat Aston Villa at the weekend. Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Mateo Kovacic came out, and Ross Barkley and Christian Pulisic were awarded for their impacts coming off the bench at Villa Park with starts yesterday. And to be honest, at first I kind of questioned the fact that Ross Barkley was in the starting 11 over Mateo Kovacic. I thought it was a crazy decision, to be perfectly honest, and the fact that Andreas Christensen was starting as well. You guys know I've never really been a massive fan of Andreas Christensen. I've always felt that for a Premier League centre-back he's a little bit weak, he gets bullied quite a lot. But we'll get into him in a minute. First 20-25 minutes, it was an absolute onslaught, and I did feel as though Chelsea desperately needed that first water break a quarter of the way through the game. Now, in fairness, for the amount of possession and the amount of dominance that Manchester City had, they had very few chances to actually show for it in that first few minutes. And the only really clear-cut one was one where it was pretty much gifted to Bernardo Silva when a Kepa throw was headed back into the middle by Riyad Mahrez, well onside, and Kepa got away with it, but he made up for it with a brilliant save from a Fernandinho header a couple of minutes later. And then incredibly, I did say this to Danny at the time, that the game so far, the pattern of it, very much reminded me of the time Chelsea played Barcelona at the Bridge in 2012 when Guardiola was in charge of Barcelona and obviously Bobby Di Matteo was in charge of Chelsea. We got a very much smash and grab goal just before half time there through Didier Drogba. But yesterday, it was the absolute smash and grab from Christian Pulisic from a Manchester City set piece. I believe it was from a corner, headed out by a Chelsea defender, and Ilkay Gundogan and Benjamin Mendy. It's such an easy situation. They should have it. Gundogan saying, I have it, you go wide. Literally, he's symboling to Benjamin Mendy, you go wide, I have it, I'll spread it out to you. Benjamin Mendy gets a touch on it, allows Pulisic in, and even though it was poor, he still lost the ball in the Chelsea half. So Christian Pulisic still had so much to do with this finish. I know he showed the pace, Benjamin Mendy got back at him, dived in, he gets past him as well. And then the composure to beautifully roll it past Ederson into the bottom corner to give Chelsea the lead before half time was absolutely brilliant from Christian Pulisic, and he really, really is coming into his own at Stamford Bridge. A 1-0 lead at half time, and I did feel as though second half Man City were really going to come on very, very strong, and similar pattern to the first half, they really did come on strong at the start of that second half, Manchester City, and unlike the first half, were actually creating better chances. And I feel like a lot of the fact that they weren't creating the chances was because Chelsea were so compact defensively, but I do think they missed that focal point in Aguero or Jesus, who didn't start the game because I believe he did have a bit of a knock from the game against Burnley. Yeah, I really did think they lacked that focal point. They were kind of playing Sterling, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, Mahrez, were all kind of drifting in and out of that, you know, false nine role, if you like. And their chances finally resulted in a goal, and this is one, lads, that you can't really do an awful lot about. The foul from N'Golo Kante on Riyad Mahrez is probably avoidable, let's be perfectly honest, because there are 3 Chelsea shirts around Riyad Mahrez. But having said that, De Bruyne, 25-30 yards out, knuckleball free kick, gets it up and down beautifully, the movement on the ball. I thought it was very David Luiz-esque or even Cristiano Ronaldo-esque, the way the ball moves and the way the shape of his foot is when he kicks it, if that makes sense. It was an unbelievable goal, and honestly, lads, so far, since the Premier League restart, we have seen some unbelievable goals scored so far. So all I'm saying is, the first Recreations episode back is going to be a mad one. And then City pressed and pressed and pressed even more and looked like they were going to actually put Chelsea to bed. Raheem Sterling, one-on-one, hits the post after some absolutely wonderful build-up. Again, from a Chelsea attack, Ederson caught it, rolled it out straight away, bish, bash, bosh, few one-touch passes from David Silva to De Bruyne, into Sterling round the back, and if he had just squared it to Riyad Mahrez, it would have been 2-1. And to be honest, I think at that point, at 2-1 Man City, that would have been lights out. But as much as I'm talking about Manchester City dominance and how much that Manchester City, you know, controlled the game, Chelsea had chances, and they had really, really good chances. Mason Mount, one-on-one, after a mistake by Ederson, a rare mistake by Ederson, resulted in a big chance for him. Left-footed shot, skews it against the side net. And I genuinely thought he'd scored there, lads. I jumped down my seat when that hit the side net. There were certainly chances there, and I think Chelsea's chances were probably better chances and more consistent overall, because we looked very, very deadly on the break. Another one where Christian Pulisic rounds Ederson, looks like he has a roll it into an open net, but just couldn't quite generate the power to roll it across the line, and Kyle Walker with an absolutely ridiculous goal line clearance to keep the game level. And last then, with 12 minutes to go, Chelsea got the winning goal, and at first I was like, how has this initial ball not gone in? Willian gets past Kevin De Bruyne on the right hand side, pulls it across the box. Tammy Abraham has a shot, saved by Ederson. Pulisic can't put it in, saved again by Ederson. Comes back to Tammy Abraham, who looks like he's just going to bundle it over the line, and then Fernandinho with his hand quite clearly slaps it. And to be quite honest, I don't know why VAR took so long over making this decision. One of the most clear-cut penalty red card scenarios you've ever seen. Fernandinho getting yet another red card in his Manchester City career. And with 12 minutes to go, Chelsea had a penalty which Willian converted to make it 2-1, and that is how it's finished. And to be honest, I think that second goal really did knock the stuffing out of Manchester City. Very much a double punishment with, you know, the goal and the red card for Fernandinho, and they just didn't have that same intensity after that, and Chelsea could have easily added to it. And the result meant that after 30 years, Liverpool are finally champions of England again. It's the first time in history Liverpool have won the Premier League, obviously, since its introduction in 1992. To win it this early, yet this late, obviously, because of coronavirus, it is just incredible. Like, I think their performance against Crystal Palace the other night really highlighted what this team is all about. So entertaining to watch, free-flowing football, unbelievable goals being scored left, right and centre, and they're going to take some stopping again next season. What Jurgen Klopp has done with this Liverpool team, what he's achieved in 4 years to take what was, let's be honest, a bit of a banter team. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't competing at all when Jurgen Klopp first came in, and to do what he's done is absolutely incredible. And they're such a force. The fact that he's won a Champions League and a Premier League, and he's got to 2 Champions League finals as well, like, oh, unbelievable. And it could have been so easy after last season, having got whatever it was, 97, 98 points, and not winning the league. It could have been so easy for Liverpool this season to just drop off. They kept going, they kept the heads up, and an absolutely thoroughly deserved league title, miles and miles ahead of everybody else. Manchester City will be very, very disappointed of their title defence, and it was defensive errors like the Benjamin Mendy one last night that have been cropping up a little too often this season. You think of back to the very start of the season when they played Norwich at Carrow Road. I mean, John Stones and Nicholas Otamendi were starting beside each other that day, and they made a catalogue of errors, and it's something that Pep Guardiola is now paying the price for not addressing the fact that they lost their captain Vincent Kompany at the end of last season. They didn't go out and sign a marquee centre-back, and obviously Aymeric Laporte got injured for a lot of the season as well, so, you know, it was a problem that wasn't addressed, and as a result Manchester City suffered the consequences of it. But I've no doubt that Manchester City will be back stronger than ever next season. The fact that Liverpool had won the league last night kind of took away what was an absolutely brilliant defensive performance from Chelsea, and it's not often I've said that about this season, but how compact we were. And I will say, I was going to mention Andreas Christensen, I'll mention him now. What a performance from him. He looked so accomplished, so strong. Raheem Sterling shoves him off the ball. Now, he's not the strongest looking fellow, but you know what I mean? Aggression, that's what you want to see. I was well impressed with Christensen last night. Absolutely took my hat off to him. But everybody in that team worked their absolute socks off for 90 minutes, and you couldn't have asked any more of them. You really couldn't. And they were probably well out of their depth in terms of Man City. They knocked the ball around absolutely beautifully at times last night, but lacked that killer pass, lacked that focal point, lacked that real centre forward to make them runs in behind and to make the runs dropping off and to just cause general havoc for the Chelsea defence. But I thought we were absolutely excellent last night, and it sets us up beautifully for our next couple of games. We've got West Ham next, which is a big game. West Ham struggling down the bottom of the table. Our win yesterday made even better by the fact that everybody else around us won before. Like, it just shows that there was a lot of mental strength there, and Frank Lampard deserves huge amount of credit. This is my manager. This is my fucking manager. Right, I'm going to wrap it up here before I lose the run of myself. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. We're nearly at 300 subscribers. Notifications on. And leave a like if you enjoyed. And I'll chat to you next time. Good luck!